As Stepan sat by the window, his gaze fixed on the frost-covered landscape, he heard an unusual sound. He furrowed his brow, straining to discern the source. Curiosity compelled him to investigate further. Stepping onto his porch, he peered into the darkness, and his heart skipped a beat. Just beyond the threshold of his gatehouse stood a she-wolf. The creature's frail form sent shivers down his spine. Wolves seldom ventured near human dwellings, unless dire circumstances compelled them to seek desperate measures. Moved by compassion, Stepan retreated into his home, his mind filled with conflicting emotions. He knew that feeding a wild animal could potentially endanger his own safety, but he also understood that a well-fed wolf was far less likely to pose a threat to the villagers. He couldn't ignore the desperate hunger that haunted the wolf's eyes. Returning with a piece of frozen meat, Stepan cautiously approached the wary she-wolf. He gently placed the food before her, keeping a cautious distance. The predator hesitated for a moment before tentatively devouring the offering, her eyes filled with gratitude. It became evident that the winter had been harsh for all the predators in the forest, as the usual prey had grown scarce. Word of the foresters' encounters with the she-wolf spread among the villagers like wildfire. Fearful of the dangers posed by a wild animal in their midst, they vehemently protested Stepan's actions. Time passed, and as spring approached, the she-wolf's visits grew less frequent. The villagers rejoiced, believing that the predator had finally moved on. Stepan, on the other hand, found himself longing for the presence of his forest companion. Months went by without a trace of the she-wolf, and life resumed its normal rhythm in the village. But fate had one final surprise in store for Stepan. One fateful day, as he answered the familiar call at his door, he discovered not only the she-wolf but two younger wolves standing beside her. They were now fully grown, their eyes reflecting both the wildness of their nature and the silent gratitude they felt towards the forester. In that moment, Stepan understood why the she-wolf had never devoured the meat he provided at once. She had been nourishing her young, sacrificing her own hunger to ensure their survival. Now, the time had come for them to venture forth in search of new territories and more abundant prey. But before they departed, they had come to say their farewells to the man who had shown them kindness amidst a harsh and unforgiving world.